All right. Hi again. In part 2 of today's lecture, which is over chapter 2 in the catering text, we're going to talk about growing your business. Now, it obviously stands to reason that if you're going to go into the catering business, it's probably going to start small and you're going to have to figure out ways to grow it and get it bigger. Usually people don't jump out and make thousands of dollars right off the bat. So, we're going to talk about some things that you can do to make this bigger. But you've also got to ask yourself some questions when you go into the catering business. Like, what are the future possibilities? How much money can you make in this business? Now, the nice thing about catering, it potentially can be unlimited if you have the right market, if you've got the right location, the right area to work from. The only thing that would limit how much money you make would be how much you want to work. Maybe how much refrigerator space you have as well. But you have to think about that. You have to think about, how many customers can you handle? What type of customer do you want to handle? Do you want to take everybody that walks in the door? One of the beautiful things about catering is you can tell people no if you don't want to work with them. Where in a restaurant, people basically are going to come in and sit down regardless. With catering, you can pick or choose. You may not have that option depending on how much money you want to make. Say you want to make, millions of dollars. Well, you might have to take about everybody that comes in. So we have to think about how are we going to get these people in. And we talk about the word segment, a segment of the industry or the segment of the market. If you think of the market as everybody that's out there, what's going to be your niche or your segment that you're going to work with? I think I put a video up in the fun videos last week of Jugs Catering. Their niche is the Indianapolis 500. That's where they do a lot of their business. There are people that only do weddings. There are people that only do barbecues. There are only people that do corporate during the week catering and things like that. So it's tough to be everything to everybody, and that's where a lot of caterers make a mistake, is they try to do it all, and it's pretty hard. Just think about the decor you'd have to have if you're a wedding caterer, but you also did corporate picnics of mainly fried chicken, and then you also did theme parties. Just the different amount of things you'd have to have, the different styles of china and flatware and drinkware you'd have to have. It might be crazy. So you've got to figure out who you want to work with. It could be a type of person you like to work with. It could even be an income level you like to work with. You could have kind of your own corporate policy that you don't take events that bill for less than $25,000. Now, there are not as many of those out there, but when you get in that market, maybe I get surprised at how many people do, spend that kind of money on catering events. You get word of mouth recognition. And you could be the caterer who specializes in those higher end events. We had a caterer in Indianapolis that they were not bashful when they said our shtick or who we are is we are the most expensive caterer in Indianapolis. Now I'll tell you, they were the number 2 caterer in Indianapolis based on the amount of business they wrote. Only behind really one of the grocery stores that did a ton of catering for the different sporting events and stuff in Indianapolis. But this place, they weren't shy about it. They are the most expensive caterer in Indianapolis. And if you want the most expensive caterer for your party, for your wedding, for your little girl's birthday or your little boy's bat mitzvah, then we are the caterer for you. Now they were good. I mean, their stuff wasn't bad. But they would wine and dine you. You'd go in for special tastings. They'd have lots of liquor for the tastings, and they also controlled. We talked about this in last week. They also controlled the florist that you went to, the photographer that you went to, the wedding cake. They controlled all that, and they got a cut of money from all those people they recommended. But if you did not use one of their florists or their photographer, they wouldn't do your wedding. So that was their thing. Most expensive, and it was their way or no way. And that was kind of their shtick. So So you could be a caterer like that and use word of mouth. Other ways to get business in, and there's all kinds of things you can do for marketing. What I found is always the best is you get your food in front of people, and different ways to do that. But nothing sells food like food. So I would make a lot of corporate gift baskets and take to different businesses. The business market is a great market to get into. They don't really care so much about food as they care about price, and then they want it on time. They just don't want hassles. So they're great customers to have. They tend to be repeat business on a regular basis. So I would make up box cookies, box sandwiches and things, and drop them off at places at lunch. Compliments of whatever, Moonlight Catering at the time, or whatever we were calling ourselves that, in that different business. But free samples, they work. How much does a batch of a dozen cookies cost? Very little. You put them in a nice bag, you put a nice tag on there, you put one of your menus, a business card in there. It's a heck of a lot cheaper than a newspaper ad. So getting your food in front of people that way is easy. I used to do a lot of like Taste of Muncie, Taste of Indianapolis, these different events where you would go in and showcase your food along other side restaurants. Now those things tend to be kind of a free-for-all. Some people are there just to eat, and they eat a lot. But you also never know when you might meet that perfect customer through one of those things. The last one I went to here in Springfield was the Bacon Fest. Springfield, it was actually bacon, beer, and bourbon. And ran into a baker that I did not know, and had the best cupcakes. In fact, it was a bourbon cupcake with a bacon frosting. It was pretty awesome. But we got to talking and found out a lot about each other's businesses just from a type of event like this. So those things work. The downside to those things is basically they don't pay you to do it. So you're bringing about 5,000 pieces of something to feed people, and that's all out of your pocket, which would come out of your marketing budget if you had one. And it's usually on the weekend. I remember doing a Taste of Muncie once when my kid was 2, and I missed her birthday party, which, she'll probably never forgive me for one day, but you do what you have to do. But it's a great way to see a large number of people in a very small amount of time, all in one place. So that's a good thing. Another thing you can do is come up with a signature product. And that may be a barbecued chicken. It may be a fried chicken. It may be we do a special steak. We do this special thing with lobster. We do this special cheesecake. But a signature item that gets out there that everybody wants is another great way to help market your business. I mentioned referrals before, and in catering, nothing is as strong as referral. When was the last time you drove down the street and you said, wow, new restaurant, I can't wait to stop in and let's go and see what they've got? That happens all the time. When was the last time you were driving down the street and said, wow, new caterer, we're going to have a party and have them come in and do something? It just doesn't happen like that. But if you get into somebody and you do a good job, referrals are everything. Back when I was at Northwest Arkansas, we did a ton of catering for Walmart and Sam's and those types of companies. Amazing money, and actually not that hard to deal with. It just had to be right. If it wasn't right, you heard about it. They had a certain expectation. But when you did good work for the departments, then the vice presidents would call, and you got to do some really cool stuff. And they paid really well, and they tipped incredibly well. It wasn't, uncommon for them to just start handing out $100 bills for tips for everybody, which is kind of cool. So referrals are a very strong way to get business in. Now you can go the regular yellow page route and internet advertising and things like that. But a lot of times with those, you're going to find price shoppers. And that's one of the things people are going to call and say, well, I've got a wedding coming up, and I want this, this, and this, but I don't want to spend a lot of money. The day that people call you and say, I want a great party, I want the best thing you can do, and money is no object, well, good luck with that, because that just doesn't happen very often. But typically people can be price conscious, and when they're using those forms of advertising to get a hold of you, they're usually looking for price. Now, if you're a low price caterer and that's the type of business you want, more power to you. But if you're trying to do some of the higher end, it may not be the best way to do your business. Modern media today and social media with Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr and Instagram and all those things, obviously the price is right on those. It is a very economical way to get your business out. Personally, I think Facebook is amazing for a business standpoint. If I could have a Facebook page just for the new cafe at school, I'd have it in a heartbeat, because there I can put up pictures of my product. I can put testimonials there, as long as people, say you can use their words. I can put a little pricing if I want, although, and we're going to talk more about that here in a couple weeks, as far as putting your catering operation online, because if you put all your pricing and everything that you do online, how easy is it for one of your competitors go and get everything you do and undercut you? I just mentioned that this can be a business where price is very important. And if you put all that ammunition out there as far as what your pricing is, and people are buying by price, someone can go and undercut you pretty easily. And that's the problem with that. Especially if you're a very relatively expensive caterer. It's pretty easy to make you look bad and undercut you on price. Also, when you do things like that, you have to make sure you put your best foot forward. I'm going to put some web pages up here in a few weeks of caterers that I think have done a very poor job of putting a good foot forward. And when you look at it, you think, why in the world would I actually have them do any catering for me? So, getting new customers obviously is crucial for the lifeblood and success of your operation. Getting them, there's a lot of competition in this business. There's a lot of people who cater. Caterers don't always get the respect. Drive down the road, you see Kentucky Fried Chicken caterers is on their sign. So how do you differentiate yourself from them? What makes you stand out? Why are people going to call you and not some of these other places? And I want you to think about food being just a small part of it. Service, being timely and on time with what you do, being precise, being honest, detail-oriented. All those things that we're going to talk more about as we go on are crucial for a catering business. We make the joke, and when you make a mistake in baking, it's trash, you throw it away. When you make a mistake in culinary, it's tomorrow's special and you raise the price. That's not what catering's about. Catering has to be about precision. People are paying you for X amount of something. And if you say, well, that didn't come out so well, so we just went ahead and gave you something else. It doesn't work in the catering business. You will not be able to grow a catering business if you're inconsistent like that. We had a situation at a school a couple schools ago where I was on break and couldn't do a big event, so they hired a local caterer, and the local caterer did not bring enough food. They ran out of food halfway through the event. About a fourth of people got dessert, and it was a mess. And of course they wanted me to write this caterer and complain. I wasn't even in the state when this happened. And things like that will kill your business. While word of mouth can build your business up, word of mouth will also kill your business just as easily. So those are just some of the quick things about growing your business. So read this chapter in the book on the business. New discussion question is up, and it has to do with markets. How do you find a market? How do you make a market? How do you work with a market? And I will tell you, when I say make a market, it's pretty hard. Going in and saying you're going to like this, you need to find a way to work with a group. You need to find a way to make a profit out of a group. And if they're not there, you need to go somewhere else and find one. So how do you find that market? Or how do you grow into it? So those are all good questions. They'll get you on the discussion question. All right, that's it for this week. Please write. Let me know if you have any problems with the videos or anything. And send me any questions you have. Thanks. Take care.